Hey guys, we made it. As we begin to look at 2020 in the rear view and we look at 2021 with all its potential and possibility, we begin to get hopeful for the future, and we begin to think about the things we're excited to see happen. We begin to dream a little bit and hope that those dreams come true in the coming year. 2020, it's no secret, was unprecedented in any of our lives. It's a year that had so much hardship and turmoil and frustration, so much loss. And yet with 2020, there were also some opportunities in there. We really began to understand the need for relationship and really value how important it is for us to be there for one another. It caused us to be flexible. It caused us to adapt. It caused many of us to see a side of us and find some inner strength that maybe we didn't know was there to begin with. So as we head into 2021, we begin to dream, we begin to hope, we begin to, if you're like me, make resolutions, things that we want to see accomplished in our own lives in the coming year. If you're also like me, sometimes those resolutions can kind of fall by the wayside. Maybe around February, we can ask ourselves the questions, how are we going to keep our resolutions in 2021? Now, one of the things that I am personally fascinated by is the idea of happiness and the science of happiness. And so fairly recently, psychiatrists and psychologists and counselors and people who really work with other people have studied this as well. And it's basically asking the question, what makes a person happy? Why do some people seem happier than others? And is that something that we can all attain if we do certain things to work towards that? There is a great book out there called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. I would highly recommend it. But Jeff Olson talks about the idea of happy habits. It's the idea that there are things in our lives that we can do regularly, these habits that are based upon choices that we make over a period of time that become habits in our lives. What the researchers have found is there are some similarities between people who are observed to be happier, things that people who are happier tend to do. There's another book that talks about this called The Happiness Advantage by Shawn. And in this book, they've identified 5 of these happy habits that people who tend to be happier, who tend to have more inner joy and inner peace, these are 5 things that they do on a regular basis. So as we head into 2021, I'm gonna challenge myself to do these daily happy habits, and I want to challenge you to do the same as well. So feel free to comment, feel free to have conversation. Let's encourage each other to put these habits into practice in the coming year. First happy habit is every morning write down 3 things that you're grateful for. And the challenge is going to be to find 3 new things every day. So you really start to kind of have to search and think about the things that we're truly grateful for. The studies have found that people who are thankful and have an attitude of gratitude tend to be the most happy because they're content with the life they have. So what this causes us to do is take a step back, look at our lives, and be thankful for the blessings that we do have. The second happy habit is to journal for 2 minutes every day about a positive experience that you had in the last 24 hours. We are so inundated with negativity, we're so inundated with toxic things that sometimes it can overwhelm us. And we forget to focus on the positive. We forget to let things encourage us because we find ourselves so discouraged so many times. And so actually writing down and journaling for 2 minutes in great detail, everything that you can remember about that positive experience, it begins to rewire our minds, it begins to change our attitude. And so the negativity that we are so easily distracted by actually begins to flood out of us, and we're beginning to see just this breath of fresh air with something positive that helps us to focus on the positive, it helps to encourage us, and it helps us to be happier. The third happy habit is to meditate daily. Now sometimes we get confused by what this means, sometimes we overthink it, sometimes we make it too complicated, but meditating is simply breathing. It's the idea that to breathe is to be alive. And again, what this helps us do is focus on the positive. It rewires our mind to be at peace. Breathing is central to what it means to be alive. And really, when was the last time you just stopped and took a breath? What meditating allows us to do is find peace. No matter what's happening around us, we can find that inner peace simply by breathing. The fourth happy habit is to perform a random act of kindness each day. Now, this random act of kindness doesn't have to be this grandiose, over-the-top type of thing that we sometimes think of. It could be something as simple as sending somebody a text or buying somebody a cup of coffee. What it begins to do is it gets the focus off ourselves. So many times we get so distracted by our stress and our worries that we begin to look so inwardly as we try to survive that we lose sight of the people around us. And so performing a random act of kindness every day begins to get the focus and lets us see people around us. People who serve others, people who love others, find great joy and satisfaction by giving their lives away to others. And finally, the fifth happy habit is to exercise daily for at least 15 minutes. Now, as we know, exercise is great for the physical aspect of life. It makes us stronger, it makes us healthier, but it has great benefit as well for us mentally and emotionally. When we exercise, the body is consistently releasing chemicals, and that actually kind of gives us what's known as that runner's high, or we get in the zone through physical fitness. Not only does it give us more confidence, but it helps us to just physically, emotionally, mentally feel better. It gets us active, it gets us moving, it helps us to continue to move forward. So in summary, if we practice these 5 happy habits, 3 things that you're grateful for each day, journaling for 2 minutes about a positive experience you've had in the last 24 hours, meditate, 1 random act of kindness, and exercise for 15 minutes each day. Let's put this to the test. Let's practice these daily happy habits and see if we don't see more happiness in our lives. Let's practice these happy habits and see if we don't feel better about our day-to-day. Let's put these to the test and see if there isn't more joy that comes from that. So I'm going to challenge myself to put these 5 happy habits into practice daily. I want to invite you to do the same. Feel free to comment, feel free to interact, feel free to share your stories about how these 5 happy habits are helping us to become happier people. Guys, thanks so much for watching, and I want to wish you and your loved ones a safe and happy new year. We'll talk to you soon.